Hi everybody, I'm just having a break from my excursion with Sir David in the background there, and I thought maybe what I could do is give you a little bit of help on how to do those 8 markers that you will find in both section A and section B. This is an example of how to do an 8 marker based on section A. So we need to think back to what our core themes are in this section. So our core themes are the rock types in the UK and how they have created uplands and lowlands, so depending on how resistant they are. So you need to be a bit familiar, remember, with your 3 types of rock: igneous, sedimentary, metamorphic, and understanding that the more resistant rocks that are igneous and metamorphic will create uplands, such as the mountains in Scotland, Snowdonia, Lake District, etc. And then your sedimentary rock will be more associated with the lowlands of the southeast. Other things that you need to be aware of are your key processes: erosion, transportation, and deposition. Other themes running through this are the risk of river flooding and coastal flooding, and the role that climate change is having in the challenges around increased risk of flooding and extreme weather. Okay, so they're your key themes, and that is what you will apply. The question will provide you with a clue about what to write about, and then it's looking for you to add something of your own. So this section of the paper will always have an 8-mark assess question, maybe evaluate, normally assess. It's question 4, and then the same thing will happen for question 7 for the human bit. It will always have a resource of some kind, at least one, that might be maps but also some text. And you are getting 4 marks for AO3 for thinking, okay, so for thinking, and 4 marks for AO4 for your skills, okay, your skills. In this question, you need to write about what you see in the resource, the ideas and the factors that you recognize it is referring to. So you need to try and link your core knowledge to the source. What's it about? Is it about river flooding? Is it about coastal flooding? Is it about uplands, lowlands? What is it about? And try and find the link, okay? You recognize what it's referring to, and then you give your opinion on the importance of different factors. So the relative importance of a number of factors. Okay, so students will be better off if they can recognize a range of concept from that first section. It will be linked to the first part of the paper. Okay, so to make sense of the question, the most obvious explanation for the map. So look at the most obvious explanation for what it is you are looking at, whether it's a human or a physical factor. So is it the human factors associated why the flood risk is increased? Is it the climate change increasing the risk of coastal flooding? Okay, and that might be what you would write about. And then you might consider the opposite point of view or a different factor and weigh up the evidence on both sides. That's your thinking, and your thinking is also about what concept should you be writing about. In AO4, you need to pull your opinion together and reach an overall conclusion. Overall, okay? And it is absolutely critical that you use data and information from the source in your answer, or you will not get enough marks. So if we have a look at this one, okay, we've got investigating a UK geographical issue. You've got 2 maps here. One is giving you information about the igneous and metamorphic rocks in the British Isles and its relief. And relief is how high or low the land is. And you've got a key. Look at the keys really carefully. They give you the answers. Don't ignore that, okay? So 4A shows the distribution of igneous and metamorphic rocks. 4B shows the relief. Assess the influence of geology on the landscape of the UK. So it is asking you if rock type is a reason for the landscape, i.e. the uplands and the lowlands in the UK. Is it important? Are there any other factors that are important? And if there aren't any other factors that are important, that's fine, but then prove it. What evidence can you see from the source that would suggest that geology has been important in determining the landscape of the UK. And what I'm really hoping is you'll be able to see that where the metamorphic and the igneous rocks are, you also get upland areas. But, and there is a but here, there must be other reasons as well. So it's not always, but primarily there is clearly a link between geology and the landscape. On this next slide, I have left you the sort of answers that you get from the mark scheme, and you can come back and you can pause this video at that point if you wish, and you can look at it. On this next one, again, assess. So first we look at this. Analyse figures 4A and 4B, which show two maps of the UK showing its population density, and you've got a key here, use it, and altitude. So where the land is high or low. I told you that rock type and this idea of uplands and lowlands is really important, as well as where people live. Assess the relationship between altitude and population density in the UK. Is there a relationship? Is there a link between where the uplands are and where the people are or aren't, and where the lowlands are and where the people are and aren't? And if there is, prove it with reference to this. Are there any other reasons that would help explain the population density in the UK? And you may well talk about employment opportunities, perhaps in the southeast and in this central England area, that you would know from section 2. So you can apply anything that you know. Again, on the next slide, here is the mark scheme. You can look at that, okay? But there may be other things you can talk about. Get some ideas from the mark scheme. And I think this is the last one I'm going to look at here with you. So this is a bit different. You've got an Ordnance Survey map extract, okay? You might not be really familiar with these if you're not sure about your grid references along the corridor, up the stairs, but don't panic about that too much. What you do know is the brown areas, because we've seen them on the previous slides, are upland, higher land, and the green areas are lower land. But you've also here got, look, woodland. So you know that the green area is woodland as well. Contours is showing you how high the land is. So this shows you the distribution of the forested areas at a national scale and a local scale. Here is a local scale, down here at a national scale. 13% of the UK is woodland, the lowest figure for any European country. The amount of woodland varies across the nations. Much of the plantations are evergreens. That's a pine tree. The UK, after China, is the largest importer of timber, and forestry gives relatively low profit. This is much tougher, this question. Assess the reasons why woodland is unevenly distributed at a national and a local scale. So why is it woodland isn't everywhere? And it says reasons. So can you think of 2 reasons why woodland is not everywhere, either nationally or locally? One answer is on here, because you can see there is no woodland where the land is really high. Okay, so the trees can't grow up there. And then down here you've got some other reasons. And the other reasons here is that it doesn't bring much profit, that increasingly we're planting pine trees, that we've already chopped it all down, but you only need one other reason. So the easiest one to talk about is the fact that compared to other land uses, it's low in profit. And again, on here, you've got some answers that can help you. Now then, my last piece of advice for the 8 markers is, how do you finish an 8 marker? You finish it with a question, a paragraph that starts overall, and then you decide what factor is the most important and just summarize it. Overall, the most important reason or the most significant reason is relief, because woodland will not grow at higher altitudes. That's it. But you must get that final evaluation in. I hope that helped you not be quite so scared of those 8 markers.